Welcome to Sunday School. And it is a blustery, gusty day in Sacramento. It got sort of rain, sort of half-assed all last night, and it's still pretty drizzly. It looks kind of gray in here, as a matter of fact. I'm going to turn up my brightness there on my computer. Anyway, sorry I'm a little bit late this morning. I did take my walk. The wind blew my umbrella inside out. And Constance and I are trying to stay warm today. Anyway, I titled today's Sunday School talk, Was Solomon the First Thelemite? And I guess it all depends on your definition of Solomon and your definition of Thelemite. Now, obviously, in the myth of Solomon, he doesn't mention Aleister Crowley or the Aeon of Horus or any the Book of the Law, or well, if you count just any volume of the Sacred Law as the Book of the Law. So obviously he wasn't a card-carrying Thelemite. As a matter of fact, from a historical point of view, he probably wasn't a he to even carry a card. He's pretty much a mythological character. Nevertheless, the archetype of Solomon, was he a Thelemite? And I wouldn't venture to say that. Don't quote me. It's probably too late for that. Anyway, I want to show you a couple things, and it kind of, at first, it deals with the mystery of what we call the sphere of Saturn, or the concept of the ancient proto god. Now, when we construct the cube of space, the Kabbalistic cube of space, we start with a singularity in the very, 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 very center of what will be the cube of space. And that point, that central point, that primal point, is attributed to Saturn. And on the Kabbalistic tree of life, the top three Sephiroth on the tree of life is called the supernal triad. And those describe the conditions of pure potentiality and not a manifest anything. There's not a universe up there, only in potentiality in 1, 2, and 3. And so 1, 2, and 3 aren't really 1, 2, and 3. They're just 3 acts, 3 chapters of the book of pre-existence, of infinite potentiality. And the opening act is number 3. And that's attributed to the sphere of Saturn. Now, Saturn in mythology was a titan. He wasn't even a god. There weren't gods yet. There were titans bubbling away in sort of roughneck pre-existent sort of chaotic bubbling away before there was actually a manifest universe. And from the supernal triad's point of view, a manifested universe is a real downer as far as there are no dimensions yet. It's so pure. It's another dimension, a dimension of pure potentiality. There is no stuff. There is no stuff yet. Stuff starts with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's stuff. But 3, 2, and 1 are just, in a sense, one kind of thinking about itself. And in the Greek myth, or the Roman myth, Saturn as a Titan, king of Titans, he's sort of like the, if there's any sort of organized central authority in the chaotic world of Titans, Titan was it, or Saturn was it. And Saturn kept having babies. He was married to Oops or Rhea, and Oops might be a really good word. So he kept mating, okay, in his pure potentiality and the potentiality of creative force. He kept knocking up his wife, okay. But that would mean another generation, okay, another generation who was post-Titan, and Saturn didn't want that to happen. So he kept eating his babies. And so the myth goes like Saturn's wife had a baby, Artemis. She was going to be a beautiful little moon goddess in a manifested universe. But Saturn ate her, and she stayed in his infinite potential belly. And then Saturn ate the equivalent of Venus, Aphrodite, and he swallowed her. And then actually they probably had twins, Aphrodite and Hermes, or Mercury. So he swallowed both of them. And then he kept going. His wife kept bringing forth new babies. She brought forth Apollo the sun, and she brought forth Mars or Ares, and she brought forth baby Jupiter. But when baby Jupiter was born, when Zeus was born, Rhea got tired of this whole thing. She said, that does it. Okay. And Saturn's belly is full of all of these other gods, you know. She says, I'm going to slip him a Mickey. Okay. So she wraps up a stone, and it's like in a burrito or something, and she slathers it all with hot sauce, and that hot sauce is going to make him eventually sick. So she wraps up the stone in swaddling clothes, just like Mary and baby Jesus, okay? And like a big tortilla, some kind of shit. So she said, "Here, the new baby, I'm going to wrap up in a burrito for you." And he swallows thinking he's swallowing the new baby, Zeus. And but instead he swallows this stone with all of this hot sauce on it. And in the meantime, now I don't know how this happens. It's a fairy tale. There's no logic to it. Rhea slips the new baby Zeus rips it through I guess, the newly created membrane of the rest of the tree of life, and literally creates a concept of four, a concept of manifestation, a more restricted dimension where stuff can happen. And she puts him in the care of a centaur boarding school of some kind, and he sets up his home base in number 4. Now, okay, here's a tetrahedron. Okay, it's got, here, let's look at it this way. Here's number 1, the singularity. Here is number 2, the reflection of the singularity. It's just the singularity of everything, the great what it is, beyond which there is no more. That's the only thing. That's like number 1 on the tree of life. Okay, then number 2 on the tree of life really isn't a number 2. It's just number 1 trying to reflect itself. And then number 3 over here, let's see, number 3 over here, that's Saturn. Okay, this is the sort of the knowledge that there's a difference between number 2 and number 1. Okay, that's all it is. It's the understanding that number 2, the reflection, really isn't number 1. But they're all just number 1 thinking about itself. Okay, that's all it is. But this one's attributed to that mystical Saturn. And then when his wife kept having babies, he kept swallowing them. But when one of them escaped, it stopped being this plain surface, this infinitely thin, wafer-thin dimension of no dimension, and all of a sudden, then a number 4 popped into existence. Okay, that's number 4. And number 4 looks around in its new, more restricted but dimension and says, wow, I must be number 1 because I don't see anybody else up here in this dimension. That's how Jupiter became king of the gods. That's how Zeus became king of the gods. And Saturn up there got really sick with all of that hot sauce in his burrito, stone burrito, and he started to throw up his babies. One by one, he threw them up in order. He threw up Mars first. Then he threw up Apollo, and okay, each one of them kept popping out below the abyss, popping out as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and eventually 10 on the tree of life. Saturn's really, really important. Saturn is that top 3rd condition at the very top of the tree of life and at the very bottom of the tree of life. It also connects the path between number 10, the dingleberry of existence, and number 9, the rest of the tree of life. Coming and going. It's the first leg of the sermon.